Welcome to Parker's MMA Show. If you want to learn about all things going down in the fight world, you've come to the right place. Each episode, your host Parker Keene will take a deeper dive into the always entertaining world of sanctioned fist fighting. Now here's your host, Parker Keene.
All right, everyone, welcome back. Episode 78 of Parker's MMA Show. We have a very special guest today, Jared Vanderaa. He is a 12-5 heavyweight, one of the most exciting prospects in the UFC's heavyweight division. He is coming off a fight of the night performance at UFC Vegas 27, where he won a decision victory over Justin Tafa. And in that fight, Jared, you said your game plan was to grab the kitchen sink and hit him over the head with it. I think it's fair to say that you did that in that fight. Very excited to have you on. Very excited to talk to you, Jared. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me on the show. And yeah, no, I planned on beating him with the kitchen sink, but his head broke the kitchen sink, so.
So, Jared, every time we have someone on for the first time, we give them a chance to kind of start at the beginning, right? So you were born in Washington State. What was life like growing up?
Well, I lived in Washington for about a year, so I obviously can't remember. Then I moved out. I've lived over like 50 different locations, 50, 60 different locations throughout my life, so I traveled around a lot. Just because I was poor. My mother at the time was trying to find the best opportunities. I bounced a lot. And, yeah, so I tried to make ends meet where my adulthood. I went from Hemet, Paris, Vegas, moved around all over this city I live in now. So it's kind of where I'm stuck out, sadly.
So how did you first get involved in MMA, Jared?
I would say I grew up enjoying fighting with my cousins. We'd just beat the ever-living shit out of each other. Then I jumped into wrestling. I fell in love with the sport. Then due to some injuries that took me out during the last like CIFs, Masters, and State, I never really was able to go further in the wrestling career. And at the time, a gym just opened up in Hemet, so I jumped in on it and went with that.
Cool. So you get started in MMA. You decide to take some amateur fights. As we know, that's kind of the wild west of MMA, right? Like nothing gets kind of like jankier and crazier with promotions when it comes to amateur fights. Can you give us kind of your favorite story from your amateur career?
Oh, actually, I don't know. I don't know where you guys live, but in California, that it's actually highly regulated.
Oh, really? Like, we live in Texas, and it's wild, man. Like, it's people fight in barns. They fight in, front of bars.
No, it's actually, no, we actually, stuff here is regulated really well. Camo MMA, like the California Amateur Martial Arts Organization, works like basically hand in hand with CSAC. So, like, there's definitely the jankier promotions around here. We got Gladiator, Cali Cage Wars, stuff like that. So there's some of the jankier sides of things. Cage Wars, with amateur and pro. But like Gladiator's kind of on the jankier side. But yeah, like got really good really good promotions. They're okay, like Dan Henderson doing their own. They have the ring that's trained, and they have a balcony so people could watch. And that one's maybe the jankiest one that I could say, but I mean it's held very professionally. I personally really like it. I know some of my students are going to be fighting on the card. They like it because there's a familiar fit, and I have even talked to people that have never been to our gym. Gym environment is something that they're familiar with, and they enjoy it. Outside of that, there's one promotion I've worked with is Epic when I was amateur. Epic had some. They would go to certain hotels with giant venues that's always been fun. They've had go-go dancers, stuff like I've done it in a bar / venue. That was also fun. So it's things like that. Like it's actually very organized here, surprisingly. But yeah, very organized. It's the worst show is just because it was a really hot day. There was a fight at Del Mar Fairgrounds, and the sun was just blistering hot. So or the rain hot because they had an outside event, and then you were stepping on it. You're like, fuck it. But that's something they weren't suspecting because Del Mar doesn't get that hot. It gets hot, but not like, oh shit, we're scorching to death.
Nice. So talk a little more about kind of the first time you linked up with Dan Henderson and what it's like to be around a guy like that that's a legend in the sport and's kind of done and seen everything you can see in the sport.
So the gym that I went to was called Prime Time. Basically, it was just a bunch of Team Quest fighters opening up their own gym, and they just changed the name. Eventually, there was a split between the two groups. Then there was another Team Quest that opened in the same city. I eventually took over that Team Quest that I'm currently at now. And while I was, they're like, hey, you need to go down to Dan Henderson's athletic center just because you need bigger bodies, stronger bodies. So I just started going there and started working with, Sam, Sokoju. Then eventually, people come in, come out. I started working with my teammate Jamal, Dominic Reyes later on. So I started running into a bunch of names. But with Dan himself, he's a very quiet person. Like he will be like, yeah, you got this. You go do that. Like he keeps things very simplistic. He's not this really deep conversationalist. So it's nice because you don't wonder what he's thinking. He kind of just like, yeah, do that. All right, cool.
Sweet. So talk about, obviously you had a long amateur career. I know you had a lot of fights. When was the point when you're like, yeah, I'm ready to go pro. I'm ready to start, doing this full time?
I just got an opportunity, kind of. It got to a point where I think my last amateur fight scared a lot of other heavyweights. They're like, yo, you just beat this dude up, and no one wants to fight you now. I didn't realize the guy that I beat was that big of a deal. Not to like he hit hard, but I didn't realize he was that big of a deal in the amateur circuit. So it became very hard for me to find fights. Then I turned over. I was working with King of the Cage in my last amateur fight. They're like, hey, do you want to go pro to fight this guy? I'm like, yeah, sure, screw it, let's do it. And that fight was like 48 seconds. And yeah.
Nice. So you start your pro career 5-0, all finishes, and then you get your first, I believe, title shot at LFA Heavyweight Championship. What was that period or that run in your career like, and then what did you learn from that first title shot?
This was a weird one. So basically from that one to roughly about to my last LFA fight / Smash Global fight, I was working with 2 managers. Like the first 3 or 4, I was doing my own managing the first 5 fights. Those were all me. I get a manager because I was having a kid, so I figured I have to step it up because I would not have enough. I would have a lot of responsibilities with my daughter that I couldn't manage myself. Even though I was already talking to Elf, trying to get me a fight, they were like, okay, well, I link up with this manager group, and it kind of I'm not gonna blame them because but it's just my career kind of just went downhill. There were certain fights that came my way that weren't the best. Some lame decision losses. I mean, I can't blame them for my failures of, not training hard enough, not finding the right openings, all that stuff. But it just kind of went crashing down. Mid Smash Global, my last fight with Smash Global, I decided to change managers with Iridium. And it's been kind of good ever since then. With them, I'm 3-1. The only loss was the Spivak fight, and that comes down to more or less like the UFC jitters. Not to discredit my opponent, but like my ground game decided to see other people that night. But I mean, I'm glad that point in my life, there was a lot of hiccups personally and professionally, and I think they kind of went hand in hand there, and so it tanked. I mean, granted, there were definitely highlights of it. Like I actually like fighting 5-round fights. Kind of figured that out after my second title fight. The one in LFA, I saw that move coming early on, and I didn't think he was going to hit it in the final stage. He hits me with a standing Kimura, which won Richard Odom's the title. But I learned from that, and I was able to I enjoy 5-round fights. I actually do a lot better in a 5-round fight. It was kind of brought up that, his strike looking fresh in my last fight. They're like, he's looking good. Round 3, I'm better 3, 4, and 5. I could do those title rounds a lot easier, and instead of like the first 2 rounds. I come in pretty good round 1 and 2, but 3, 4, and 5, I'll fuck your day up.
So let's talk a little bit about those title fights, right? Like you win 2 kind of regional belts after the LFA title fight. What is it like being a regional champion, right? Where you're like, kind of, they know like eventually you're going to be good enough to leave the promotion, but at the time you're the champion. Like what is that experience like?
I don't know, because like when I fight for UFC, they treated me with the utmost respect, and I gave that respect back to them. And like now they're happy. They're excited to see me leave. They're like, yeah, our guys are in the UFC. A lot of their title holders went into the UFC in the last. So about that. That means that they're doing something right. When I won global title, they were happy that I went to the UFC. Like messages from both promotions, like, yo, you're rocking us, like good. So to them, it's more promotion and more attention to. They're like, hey, this fighter came from us. This fighter came from us. So they're all for it.
And then what is that like when you get that call to be on the Contender Series? Like, where were you? What time was it? Tell me that story of when you got that call.
It really wasn't that exciting. I think I had it was a late night. I got home, slept, and then I woke up at like 6 in the morning. Looked at my phone. I'm like, oh, shit. Contenders? Yeah, I'll take it. Walked in, told my fiance, like, hey, fight. And yeah, it was kind of she wasn't the happiest we were fighting at the time, so she was like, oh, sorry. But it was just as simple as that. Like, it was just, I woke up to the text message. They said yes to it. So, exciting story. Like, hey, you want to fight Contender Series? I'm like, yeah.
So I guess I'll ask you then, what is it like to then go on the Contender Series and get the contract?
A lot more restrictions than UFC. Like it was very like, do this, be here on time, don't do that. Then you're like, damn, okay, like fall in line. But once I got into the UFC, they were a lot less strict on us. There was definitely strict policies due to COVID, but like, yo, you out of the room, you can breathe a little bit, like you walk around the little. You're like, oh damn, but stay in your room. If you want to work out in the private room, like they have PI, none of that. But now in the UFC, 100% access to it, and honestly, I love the PI. I see why a lot of top UFC fighters go there. Very informal people there, so.
So talk a little bit about that. Obviously, you mentioned it, but there's a lot of rules due to COVID. Obviously, you're in California. There's a lot of rules around that, around training. You've mentioned in the past, like talk about your struggles kind of with COVID in general and just being able to train and find training partners, everything that kind of comes with being an MMA fighter in a global pandemic.
So it wasn't that bad. Like. So I bought Team Quest, and I was trying to open it up the day that I had my final exam the second to final exam was the day that we had to shut it down for COVID. So California, like I had this place shut down for what, three months, and then our governor gave us that 2-week window of like, hey, we're opening back up. Let's run this. So in that 2-week period, I got cleared, opened up business, and I just said, fuck it, we're staying open. Then the sheriff down here was like, hey, we're not going to force businesses closing. Stay open. Keep yourselves, do what you need to. And we kept business running. He made at Dan Henderson, basically, the sheriffs were like, yeah, keep on train through this whole pandemic, and yeah, it didn't really hit me that hard. It only hit me December when I was supposed to originally fight Spivak. When I got COVID, that's the only time it affected me negatively, because I think my mindset going into that one versus the second time would have been completely different.
So What was the biggest lesson you took from that Spivak fight when you eventually did get it?
Honestly, it was you could hang, you could beat. Like I kind of overplayed Spivak around in my head for like that 2-3 month period. I was like, oh, he's so good, and then honestly, realizing that fight was 98% of him in my half guard. That was it. But like he couldn't pass my half guard, and I didn't do shit in half guard. And the problem is half guard's my fucking shit. That's my bottom half guard is one of my positions, and I did absolutely nothing for it, and that was completely on me.
Well, obviously you learned something from it, because you come out against Justin Tafa and you just have an absolute banger. You get the win. I mean, fight of the night, extra 50 G's in your pocket. Talk me through your mindset in a fight like that, where it's just an absolute dogfight and you're throwing everything you can at this guy and you just can't put him away.
I was like, fuck, I'm bleeding. I just lost this fight. literally my thought. I was like, damn it. Granted, I did tell one judge, because I didn't know he was a judge, and he was like, yeah, I'm judging your fight tomorrow. I looked at him dead in the eye. I'm like, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to fucking bleed. I'm going to bleed a lot. I'm still, I'm winning the round. I'm still a 10. It's like, a dime piece when you see it. Like, I'm a 10. And I'm hoping he's one of the judges that gave me all 3 rounds, be like, yeah, he was a 10 the whole entire time.
Yeah. So, hey, anyone, obviously you got a big win there. Anyone you have on top of your mind to fight next, or is it just kind of next guy up?
So originally I called out Andre Arlovski just because I would love to fight on Andre. That hero. But the same night I fought the same night I fought, Ben Rothwell fought too. But Ben went to his manager. I went to my manager. They're like, we can't make the fight happen. So I was like, damn it. I'm like, I'm down. He's down. Why can't we punch each other in the face? So that didn't work out. And so I'm looking. I'm not necessarily rushing into I need a fight in July or August because I am having another kid that I would like to be present for, but I'm looking for something in September, which isn't that far away.
Park, here's a business idea for you. We need to get Tinder for UFC fighters, and you could just swipe left or right on people in your weight class say you want to fight, and then they'll send it right to Mick Maynard and Sean Shelby. They can make it happen.
Well, the problem would I'd be like right. Yes, left.
I hate to tell you this, Jared, but you might be the ugly dude in this scenario because I know a lot of ugly dudes that's how they do it on Tinder too.
Oh yeah, no, I'm definitely the ugly duckling in this game.
Jared, talk to me a little bit about kind of what does your daily routine look like? Any kind of weird habits or ritual you do leading up to fights?
Not really. I'm not. Okay, I'm a weird person, but I'm not like out of the box weird. Like I'll paint my nails occasionally, like the fight week. One because I know my daughter likes seeing it. Something me and her do. But it's also like my alt goth phase that never died out. Yeah, like that's maybe the most weirdest thing I do. But I mean, outside of that, everything's mundane. My practice routine is 3 to 4 hours in the morning, training, go home for a bit, act like I'm a father, and then go to gym, teach, teaching, and then repeat.
Nice. Talk a little bit about recovery. What are some things you do, especially coming off a war like that? How do you get your mind and your brain right to re-rack and do it again?
I don't recover. Like yell that all the time. Like why aren't you like ice bath? Why don't you? I'm just like I think it's stupid.
So you do nothing? Like no massage, no nothing? You don't even have like one of those things you rub your foot on? Like nothing?
Some of that stuff. I'll do massages occasionally because I dislocate a lot. I'll go to a chiropractor, but I'm not like I need a massage weekly. I need to loosen. I'm just like, let's do this another day. I'm way too damn busy to recover. I'm just going through the emotions. I'm forcing myself to take 3 weeks off. Like I say forcing myself because I'm forcing myself. It is hard not to go to the gym and train right now. I'm like, I want to punch somebody. I found out that one of my teammates is having a fight, and I'm like, I need to be there to help him. But I'm like, no, but I need to help him. No. So it's a very bad duality for me. So it's right now I'm just trying to get that life centered and stuff like that.
Talk a little bit about the rest of the year. Kind of what are your goals both professionally and personally?
More or less just be around when my daughter pops out, and then once that happens, punch as many people as I can.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, like I am definitely not a goal-oriented person. My fiance hates that, but I truly fucking hate making plans.
This is incredible. That's an amazing mindset to have for a professional MMA fighter. Jared, what the last segment we do with everyone who comes on the show, we do 5 rapid fire questions, just like a 5-round fight. I'm going to ask you questions. Just tell me the first kind of thing that comes to your head. Try and keep it themed to whoever's coming on the show. I know you're a very big guy. You're heavyweight. So I got 5 kind of heavyweight related questions here for you. Just let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready now.
All right. Question number 1. Who would win in a fight? The top 5 UFC flyweights together or Francis Ngannou?
Oh, Francis.
Question number 2. What is the tallest building or mountain you have been to the top of?
I don't go mountains or buildings.
No heights. All right. Number 3. What is the heaviest thing you have ever lifted?
I don't know. I squatted once, like 750.
That is a lot. Question 4. What is the largest meal you have ever eaten?
Oh, that was hard. Oh, I remember one point I had 2 rack ribs, potatoes, and stuff like that. On average, I eat about 1.5 pounds of steak nightly, so this one's hard. The big meals.
And then question number 5, maybe the hardest one. What is the largest animal you think you could take in a fight?
Oh, actually, this isn't the largest animal. It will vary on the animal because, like, I think I could easily take on what was it? What was the big rodent thing? There's a rodent that I forget. It
Capybara.
capybara. Like that I think.
So you think you could fuck up a capybara?
Yeah, because I fuck that. But then again, like if I fight a factor, it's 100. Like that's too little and too crazy of a fight that I don't want to have.
Bro, you might not beat a scorpion, and that's very little. But the question is the largest animal, so you're going with capybara.
Yeah, I feel like this is a safe ant or a platypus. I feel like they're a little bit slower. I think I could kick them if I'm in the water.
Done deal. Capybara or platypus. What an answer. What an interview. Jared Vanderaa.
A little bit like, oh, I'll take a rhinoceros. Fuck no. Like, that shit would maul me. And then what? A hippo? What? So I could get decapitated or freaking split in two? No. That's dumb.
What about a giraffe? Do you think you could take a giraffe?
No. Do you see how tall they are and how much they have decapitated lions by punting? Yeah, I'm going to fight one? No.
We're sticking with capybara, dude. I think this is the answer. I think we solved the riddle.
Yeah, like, I'm being realistic. I know my animals. Like,
you're a heavyweight UFC fighter. Think about the rest of us here, Jared. I got no shot against these things.
Yeah, like, do you think you could take a kangaroo?
God, no, dude. I'm 5'9", 160 pounds, Jared.
I'm like, there's a lot of people that go, fuck up a kangaroo. No.
Bro, you seen the jacked kangaroo on Instagram and stuff? Like, these things are enormous.
Yeah, like, and chimpanzees, everyone's like, oh, fuck up. No, you will not. They'll take your face with them.
Yeah, they'll rip your dick
I will
off
not
for
fight
sure.
no primates.
100%.
No primates. I would not fight a single other, like any monkey or ape, I'm out.
I might fight a lemur, but that one would be a hard one. I love lemurs, but
Dude, they're quick. They'll get you. If that lemur wants to get you, they're quick.
there's a lemur called the sea fucker. It's a white lemur that they tend to be very lazy lemurs, but when they need to, they can easily clear 30 feet. One leap.
Are you a big animal guy, Jared? Like, are you really into animals?
Yeah. Like I've taken way too many animal classes. I all through high school I took the zoology classes. That was one of the few interests that I had. At one point, I dated a vet person, and they're weird about animals, so I learned a lot from that person. And so, yeah, and even now, I still gear myself to animals.
That's
Very
awesome.
nice. All right, Billy.
Well, Jared, thank you so much for coming on. You want to let the people know where they can find you on social media and any shout outs you might have?
Thank you guys for having me. And if you want on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, sorry about that. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok under Jared Vanderaa.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
Well, everyone, my name's Billy Naden. That was Jared Vanderaa. He's Parker Keene. That was episode 78 of Parker's MMA Show. Like, share, rate, subscribe, all that good stuff. Jared, thanks again. Let us know when you have a fight book. We'll have you back on.
All right. Thank you guys for having me.
Appreciate it,
You
man.
have a good
See
one.
ya.
Bye-bye.
Texas Trees is the premier tree care company in the DFW area. Whether you need basic maintenance or specialized services, when it comes to trees, we've got you covered. Pruning, chipping, bracing, and cabling, even root barriers and disease control, we do it all. And if you aren't sure what you need, we have certified arborists on staff to point you in the right direction. Visit us at northtexastrees.net. That's northtexastrees.net. Thanks for listening to Parker's MMA Show. Take a moment to rate and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, and visit parkerkeensmmashow.podbean.com for additional information on Parker and to stay up to date on the latest drama in the fight world. For more information and important links about today's episode, check out the show notes.